There is a question that haunts the Western world. A puzzle we have been trying to solve for decades with complex medical technologies and expensive pharmaceuticals. How is it that in a small island nation on the other side of the world, people not only live longer than almost anyone else on Earth, but they also live better? We are talking about Japan, a country with the highest density of centenarians, people living active, engaged lives well past the age of 100. It is a place where the image of an 80 or 90-year-old is not one of frailty and confinement, but often one of vitality, of a person still gardening, still walking to the market, still participating fully in the life of their community. The problem we are going to confront today is the profound and tragic disconnect between our Western approach to aging and this reality. We have been taught to view aging as a relentless war against the body, a battle fought with high-intensity workouts, joint-jarring exercises, and a no-pain, no-gain mentality. We see our bodies as machines that are inevitably breaking down, and our solution is to try and force them into submission. This approach, for a body over the age of 60, is not only ineffective, it is often dangerous. It leads to injury, to burnout, and to a deep-seated fear of movement itself. We become trapped in a vicious cycle. Pain leads to inactivity, and inactivity leads to more stiffness, more weakness, and more pain. But what if this entire philosophy is wrong? What if the secret to a long, mobile, and pain-free life is not found in fighting with your body, but in partnering with it? What if the key is not to exhaust your muscles, but to nourish your joints? What if the path to lifelong vitality lies not in intensity, but in consistency, in a series of gentle, mindful, and profoundly intelligent movements that are practiced not for an hour at the gym, but are woven into the very fabric of daily life? Today, we are going to pull back the curtain and immerse ourselves in the ancient wisdom of Japanese wellness. We are going to explore a philosophy that views the body not as a machine to be conquered, but as a garden to be tended. We will reveal 6 specific, traditional movements and practices that are a cornerstone of the daily lives of millions of Japanese elders. These are not exercises in the Western sense. They are rituals of self-care. They are a form of moving meditation designed to lubricate the joints, improve circulation, maintain balance, and cultivate a deep, harmonious connection between the mind and the body. We will not just show you these movements. We will spend hours dissecting the deep physiological and neurological science that makes each one so powerfully effective. This is your masterclass in the Japanese art of aging gracefully. It is your guide to abandoning the painful, frustrating war against your body and embracing a gentle, joyful, and profoundly sustainable path to lifelong mobility. Before we learn the first movement, we must first embrace the foundational principle that underpins this entire philosophy. It is the concept of ikigai, which is often translated as a reason for being, or a reason to get up in the morning. But it is also a deep cultural understanding that a healthy life is a life of purpose and gentle, consistent activity. The goal is not a dramatic, short-term transformation, but the creation of a sustainable daily rhythm of wellness. This philosophy is reflected in their approach to movement, which is not about punishing the body, but about preparing it for a day of meaningful activity. This brings us to the first, and perhaps most important, of our 6 practices. It is a national phenomenon in Japan, a ritual that has been practiced by millions every single morning for nearly 100 years. It is called Reigyo Taiso, which translates to radio calisthenics. At 6:30 every morning, a gentle piano melody begins to play on the national public radio and television, and people of all ages, from schoolchildren to centenarians, gather in parks, in community centers, and in their own living rooms to perform a simple, 3-minute series of gentle rhythmic movements. The problem that Reigyo Taiso so brilliantly solves is the problem of morning stiffness and circulatory stagnation. After a long night of stillness, your joints are unlubricated, your muscles are tight, and your circulation is sluggish. The typical Western approach is to jolt the body awake with a shot of caffeine, and then stumble into the day, forcing these stiff, unprepared tissues into action. Reigyo Taiso takes the opposite approach. It is a gentle awakening, a systematic process of waking up every major joint and muscle group in the body, from your fingertips to your toes. Let's learn a few of the foundational movements of a typical Reigyo Taiso routine. We will do this from a comfortable, seated position to ensure it is accessible to everyone, though it is traditionally done standing. Sit tall in your chair, with your feet flat on the floor. The first movement is a simple arm raise and stretch. As you take a slow, deep breath in, gently raise both arms out to the sides and up over your head, reaching for the ceiling. Feel a wonderful, lengthening stretch through your entire torso. As you exhale, slowly lower your arms back down. Repeat this 4 to 6 times, coordinating the movement perfectly with your breath. This simple act begins to open up the chest, stretch the muscles of the shoulders and back, and encourages deep diaphragmatic breathing, which oxygenates the blood and calms the nervous system. The second movement is a gentle trunk twist. Place your hands on your shoulders, with your elbows pointing out to the sides. As you exhale slowly and gently, twist your entire upper body to the right. Only go as far as is comfortable. Don't force it. Feel the gentle stretch in your spine and your oblique muscles. As you inhale, return to the center. As you exhale, twist to the left. Continue this rhythmic, gentle twisting for 6 to 8 repetitions. This movement is incredibly important. It brings mobility to your thoracic spine, the part of your spine that can become very stiff from sitting, and it gently massages your internal organs, stimulating your digestive system. The third movement is a leg and ankle activation. While seated, extend one leg out in front of you. First, gently point your toes away from you, feeling a stretch on the front of your ankle. Then flex your foot, pulling your toes back towards you, feeling a stretch in your calf muscle. Do this 5 times. Then perform 5 slow, deliberate ankle circles in each direction. This is a direct activation of your second heart, the calf muscle pump, which begins the process of returning stagnant blood from your lower legs back up to your core. Repeat with the other leg. These are just 3 small components of a Regio-Taiso routine, but they illustrate the principle. It is a head-to-toe, joint-by-joint awakening. The movements are never jarring, never high impact. They are rhythmic, circular, and always coordinated with the breath. By dedicating just 3 to 5 minutes to a routine like this every single morning, you are lubricating every joint with synovial fluid, you are bringing fresh, oxygenated blood to every muscle, and you are starting your day not in a state of stiffness and resistance, but in a state of fluid, open readiness. This is the first and most fundamental secret of the Japanese elders. Now we move from a whole body awakening to a practice that focuses on the very foundation of our independence, our balance. This brings us to our second practice, which is not a single exercise, but an integrated, lifelong approach to cultivating what is known as hara. Hara is a Japanese concept that refers to the body's center of gravity, located in the lower abdomen, about 2 inches below the navel. The philosophy is that all strong, stable, and graceful movement originates from a strong and stable center. The problem this practice solves is the terrifying epidemic of falls among older adults. A fall is not just a simple accident. For a person over 70, a fall can be a life-altering, and in some cases a life-ending event. It can lead to a broken hip, a loss of confidence, and a rapid decline into frailty. The primary reason we lose our balance as we age is a decline in our proprioceptive system. Proprioception is often called our sixth sense. It is the constant unconscious feedback loop between the nerves in our muscles and joints and our brain that tells us where our body is in space. As we become more sedentary and our movements become less varied, this system begins to degrade. Our brain literally starts to lose the high-definition map of our own body. The Japanese approach is to constantly and mindfully retrain this system through simple, daily balance practices. One of the most common and effective is the simple single-leg stance. You can start by standing behind a sturdy chair or next to a countertop, holding on for support. Shift your weight onto one foot. Now slowly lift the other foot just an inch or 2 off the floor. Your goal is to hold this position, initially for just 10 seconds, without letting the ankle of your standing leg wobble. Focus on engaging the muscles of your core, your hara. Imagine you have roots growing down from your standing foot deep into the earth. As you become more confident, you can reduce your reliance on the chair, perhaps just touching it with one fingertip. The eventual goal is to be able to hold this stance for 30 seconds to a minute on each leg without any support. To make this practice even more powerful, you can incorporate the concept of mindful walking or kinhin. Instead of just walking for exercise, You can dedicate a few minutes to walking with intense, focused awareness. Feel the sensation of your heel striking the ground. Feel your weight rolling through the sole of your foot. Feel the push-off from your toes. This intense focus on the sensory information coming from your feet is a powerful way to retrain and sharpen that proprioceptive map in your brain. Even the way many Japanese elders sit is a form of balance and core training. The traditional way of sitting on the floor in the seiza position, kneeling with the legs folded underneath the body, requires constant, subtle engagement of the core and hip muscles to maintain an upright posture. While this position may not be accessible to everyone, the principle is what matters. The daily act of getting up from and down to the floor is a powerful, functional exercise that maintains strength and balance throughout life. By incorporating just a few minutes of dedicated balance practice into your daily routine, you are not just preventing falls. You are maintaining the high-definition connection between your brain and your body, the very essence of graceful, confident movement. This leads us directly to our third practice, which focuses on the area of the body that is the key to all locomotion and the source of so much pain and stiffness for Westerners: the hips. The practice is a series of gentle hip opening and mobility movements, often incorporated into their daily stretching routines. The problem this practice solves is the epidemic of frozen hips that results from a lifetime spent in chairs. Our hip joint is a magnificent ball and socket joint, designed for an incredible range of motion. However, when we spend the majority of our lives sitting in a static, 90-degree angle, the muscles surrounding this joint adapt to this limited range. The hip flexors on the front become short and tight. The powerful gluteal muscles on the back become weak and dormant. The hip rotator muscles become stiff. This creates a hip joint that is effectively locked in a very narrow window of movement. This not only leads to hip pain and arthritis, but also directly causes problems in the lower back and the knees, which are forced to compensate for the lack of mobility in the hips. The Japanese approach is to gently and consistently explore the full, natural range of motion of the hip joint every single day. Let's learn a simple, seated hip mobility sequence. Sit on the front edge of your chair, with your feet wide apart and your knees bent. Our first movement is an internal and external rotation. Keeping your feet planted, slowly and gently, let both of your knees fall inward, towards each other. You should feel a gentle stretch on the outside of your hips. Only go as far as is comfortable. Then, return to the start, and let both of your knees fall outward, opening up like a book. You will feel a stretch in your inner thighs. Continue this gentle, rhythmic windshield wiper motion for 8 to 10 repetitions. You are gently lubricating the ball and socket joint and reminding the surrounding muscles of their rotational capacity. The second movement is a seated figure 4 stretch. Sit tall and cross your right ankle over your left knee. Let your right knee relax and fall out to the side. For many people, this position alone will provide a sufficient stretch in the right hip and glute. If you feel a good stretch, simply hold it and breathe for 30 seconds. If you would like a little more, you can keep your back perfectly straight and gently hinge forward at your hips. This will deepen the stretch. This is one of the most powerful stretches you can do to release the piriformis muscle, which is a common cause of sciatica-like pain. Gently release and then repeat on the other side. By performing these simple, daily hip mobility drills, you are preventing your hips from becoming frozen. You are maintaining the health of the cartilage by moving the synovial fluid. You are restoring the natural length to tight muscles and activating weak ones. You are ensuring that your hips can remain the powerful, mobile center of all your movements, which takes an immense amount of strain off your knees and your lower back. Now we move from the large movements of the body to the subtle, internal movements that are arguably even more important for our long-term health and vitality. This brings us to our fourth practice, a deep and focused approach to breathing known as hara kokyu, or belly breathing, centered on that same core principle of the hara. The problem this practice solves is the chronic, shallow breathing pattern that is endemic in our stressed-out Western society. Most of us breathe using only the top third of our lungs, a pattern known as chest breathing. When you are anxious or stressed, your breath becomes even more rapid and shallow. This type of breathing keeps your nervous system stuck in the fight or flight, sympathetic state. It creates tension in the neck and shoulders, and it fails to fully oxygenate your blood. It is a breathing pattern of alarm and inefficiency. Harakokyu is the direct antidote. It is the practice of deep, diaphragmatic breathing. The goal is to consciously draw the breath deep down into the lower lobes of the lungs, using the powerful, dome-shaped diaphragm muscle to do the work. This type of breathing has a profound, almost immediate effect on your physiology. It is the most powerful, non-pharmaceutical way to stimulate the vagus nerve, which is the superhighway of your rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system. Activating this nerve is like hitting the master brake pedal on your body's stress response. It slows your heart rate, it lowers your blood pressure, it relaxes your blood vessels, and it sends a powerful signal of safety and calm to every cell in your body. Let's practice a simple form of Harakokyu together. Sit comfortably, with your spine tall. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your lower abdomen, your hara. For the first few moments, just observe your natural breath. Now, as you inhale slowly through your nose, I want you to actively direct the breath down towards your lower hand. Feel your belly expand and gently push out against your hand. The hand on your chest should remain relatively still. As you exhale slowly, either through your nose or your mouth, feel your belly gently fall back towards your spine. Let the exhalation be passive and relaxed. Let's add a rhythm. Inhale for a count of 4, feeling the belly rise. Pause for a moment, and exhale for a count of 6, feeling the belly fall. The key is to make the exhalation slightly longer than the inhalation. This extended exhalation is particularly effective at stimulating the vagus nerve and engaging the parasympathetic response. Dedicating just 5 to 10 minutes a day to this practice, perhaps in the morning as part of your Regio Taiso or in the evening before bed, can be truly transformative. You are not just breathing, you are consciously regulating your own nervous system. You are washing your body with calming hormones and creating an internal environment that is conducive to healing, to digestion, and to deep, restorative rest. This brings us to our fifth practice, a technique that may seem unusual to us, but is a common self-care ritual in Japan for stimulating circulation and releasing muscular tension. It is a form of self-massage or tapping known as hata taiso, or skin exercises. The problem this practice addresses is the stagnation of both blood and lymphatic fluid that can occur in a sedentary body. Your lymphatic system is a crucial part of your immune system, a network of vessels that is responsible for clearing waste products, toxins, and cellular debris from your tissues. However, unlike your circulatory system, which has a central pump, the heart, the lymphatic system has no pump of its own. It relies entirely on the contraction of your muscles and on physical stimulation to move the fluid along. When we are inactive, this fluid can become stagnant, leading to puffiness, a feeling of sluggishness, and a weakened immune response. Hata taiso is a simple and effective way to manually stimulate this flow. The practice involves using your cupped hands or your fingertips to gently and rhythmically tap or pat your entire body. You would typically start with your hands and arms, tapping from your fingertips up to your shoulders. Then you would move to your chest and abdomen, your back, as much as you can reach, and finally, down your legs, from your hips all the way to the soles of your feet. The tapping should be gentle but firm enough to create a light, stimulating vibration. This rhythmic pressure does several things. It brings a rush of fresh, oxygenated blood to the surface of the skin and to the underlying muscles, which is why your skin will often feel warm and tingly afterward. It manually stimulates the flow of lymphatic fluid, helping your body to clear out metabolic waste. And it helps to release the superficial fascia, the thin layer of connective tissue that lies just beneath the skin, which can often become tight and restricted. A 5-minute session of this gentle tapping, perhaps after your morning stretches or before bed, is a wonderfully invigorating and detoxifying practice that awakens the entire body from the outside in. Finally, we arrive at our sixth practice. This is not a physical movement, but a deeply ingrained cultural practice that has a profound impact on physical and mental health. It is the practice of Shinrin-yoku, which translates to forest bathing. The problem this practice solves is the profound and damaging disconnect from the natural world that has become a hallmark of modern, urban life. We live our lives in climate-controlled boxes, surrounded by artificial light and the constant hum of technology. This separation from nature has been shown to have a measurable, negative impact on our stress levels, our immune function, and our mental well-being. Shinrin-yoku is the simple, meditative practice of walking slowly and mindfully in a natural environment, such as a forest or a park. This is not about hiking or getting exercise. The goal is to simply be present and to immerse your senses in the atmosphere of the forest. It is about consciously noticing the play of sunlight through the leaves, the feeling of the breeze on your skin, the sound of birdsong, the earthy smell of the soil. You are, in effect, bathing your senses in nature. The scientific evidence supporting the health benefits of this practice is astonishing. Studies have shown that even a short, 20-minute walk in a forest can lead to a significant drop in the stress hormone cortisol, a lower heart rate, and lower blood pressure. The air in forests is rich in aromatic compounds called phytoncides, which are emitted by trees and plants to protect themselves from germs and insects. When we inhale these compounds, they have been shown to have a remarkable effect on our immune system, specifically by increasing the number and the activity of a type of white blood cell called natural killer, NK cells. These are the frontline soldiers of our immune system, responsible for fighting off viruses and even early cancer cells. By making a regular, conscious effort to spend time in nature, even if it's just a quiet city park, you are tapping into one of the most ancient and powerful forms of healing available to us. You are calming your overstimulated nervous system, boosting your immune defenses, and cultivating a sense of peace and connection that is a powerful antidote to the anxiety and isolation that can often accompany aging. Let us now step back and look at the beautiful, holistic tapestry we have woven. This is not a random collection of exercises. It is a complete day-long ritual of self-care for the body, the mind, and the spirit. It begins in the morning with the gentle, rhythmic awakening of Reggio Taiso, which lubricates your joints and prepares your body for the day. Throughout the day, you practice mindful balance and stability, cultivating your connection to your hara. You perform your gentle hip mobility drills to ensure that the center of your movement remains free and open. You use the power of hara-kokyu, your deep belly breathing, as your tool to manage stress and calm your nervous system in real time. You use the invigorating practice of hata taiso to stimulate your circulation and cleanse your tissues. And you regularly immerse yourself in the healing embrace of nature through Shinrin-yoku. This is a philosophy that is built on a deep and abiding respect for the wisdom of the body. It is a path of gentleness, of consistency, and of profound awareness. It is the understanding that true, lasting strength and vitality are not achieved by fighting a war against the aging process, but by learning to gracefully and intelligently adapt to it. You do not need an expensive gym membership. You do not need complicated equipment. The tools you need are the ones you have possessed all along: your own body, your own breath, and your own innate capacity for mindful awareness. By embracing these 6 simple, daily practices, you are not just adopting an exercise routine. You are adopting a new way of living. You are choosing a path that leads not to frailty and fear, but to a life of continued movement, of deep, unshakable balance, and of a serene, powerful vitality that can be your trusted companion for all the years to come.